Hello again, and thanks very much for joining us. And here are business stories making headlines at this hour. I'm Michael Nath. Vice President of Nigeria, Osinbanjo, says the federal government will reap huge debt relief from some creditors in dollars if Nigeria's idea for a debt for climate swap deal is widely accepted. A statement said during his meeting with top officials of the U.S. government after his speech at the Center for Global Development on Thursday, he advocated for the DFC idea, which he had previously proposed publicly, first at the Center for Global Development. Osinbanjo said, quote, "The proposed debt for climate swaps would be a very useful intervention and helpful as it will reduce debt burdens while advancing the climate change objectives of the international community." End of quote. And he also described the idea as a climate change-related finance instrument deserving global consideration, adding that it was a win-win proposal. The VP pushed for the idea for opening up the carbon market in Africa so that the climate change actions of African countries could be adequately verified by the international community through the assessments of the appropriate verification institutions. He reiterated that the DFC would help solve many of the debt-burden challenges in Nigeria and other countries. Nigeria's external reserves fell by 3.6% in August 2022 to $39.024 billion, down from $40.4520 billion on December 31st, 2021. Pressure on the Nigerian foreign exchange reserves has forced it to shed a whopping $1.496 billion year-to-date, despite the surge in crude oil prices. Despite the Apex Bank's interventions in the forex market, the Nigerian economy is starved of foreign exchange as currency traders continue to complain about restricted forex liquidity, causing the local currency to depreciate more in the FX market. Although there are a number of CBN policies and programs aimed at encouraging inflows, Nigeria's inability to attract foreign currencies through export value, diaspora remittances and investments have resulted in severe FX shortage in the country, encouraging arbitrage in the parallel market. The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, has disclosed that the federal government has settled a long-standing $5.26 billion contractual dispute with a foreign investor in the steel sector for $496 million. A statement by the Special Assistant Media and Publicity Relations Office of the AGF, Umar Gwandu, said the mediation proceedings were under the Alternative Dispute Resolution Framework of the International Chamber of Commerce, led by Philip Howell Richardson. According to the government, the settlement agreement came into effect on the 19th of August 2022. Nigeria succeeded in reducing the claim in mediation brought by the international firm of King & Spalding, legal representatives of the global group, by 91%. A claim for over $10 billion was threatened in arbitration before the International Chamber of Commerce in the International Court of Arbitration, Paris, in respect of 5 major contracts of 2004 to 2007, covering steel, iron ore, and rail. Power generation dipped by 642.4 megawatts on Sunday when compared to the quantum of peak electricity produced in the grid on the preceding day. The federal government confirmed a fire incident at its Idiabo 330/132/33 kV substation in Cross River State. Data obtained from the Federal Ministry of Power on Sunday in Abuja indicated that the quantum of off-peak power produced on the national grid on Saturday was 3,310.5 megawatts, while peak electricity on the same day was put at 4,446.7 megawatts. but this dropped to 3,804.3 megawatts by 6 a.m. on Sunday, indicating a power generation decrease of 642.4 megawatts. This came as the government, through its transmission company of Nigeria, said a fire incident occurred on Saturday at its Idiabo 330/132/33 kV substation in Cross River State. The General Manager, Public Affairs, TCN, Ndidimba, however, stated that engineers from the transmission company were working assiduously to restore power supply to Calabar. The latest report by the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission shows that total billing to electricity consumers by the 11 distribution companies stands at 816 billion naira. The report also shows that out of this amount, only 370 billion naira has been collected by the discos, leaving a total outstanding of 543 billion naira. The data was contained in the NERC's annual report. The latest report shows that the loss was recorded in 2020. The figures show that 74.33% and 66.50% billing and collection efficiencies were recorded during the period, indicating 8.44 and 1.34 percentage points decline when compared with 2019. The level of collection efficiency indicates that as much as 3.35 naira out of every 10 naira worth of energy sold during the year 2020 remained uncollected from customers as and when due. Due to the low billing collection recorded by the discos, the utility firms were also not able to full pay for the quantum electricity supplied to them by the Nigerian Bulk Electricity Trading PLC. Now, the Central Bank of Nigeria recently said it has disbursed a cumulative total of 4.4 trillion naira in intervention funds to help develop the country's private sector as of July 2022. Speaking on Business Breakfast earlier in the day, analyst Muda Yusuf lauded the CBN for its intervention, while also pointing out the high default rates recorded in the anchor borrowers program.
Many of the intervention funds are given at about 9%, single digits. Again, you hardly can get that kind of interest rates in the normal commercial banks. So from a development point of view, particularly in supporting or facilitating production in the economy, I think it's something that one should commend. But whether that is able to fill the huge deficits in terms of demand for credit in the private sector is a completely different matter. Well, I think it's complementary. It's complementary. What I think should happen is that it could be fine-tuned so that the objectives can be better achieved. Because so for some aspects of the intervention funds, particularly the anchor borrowers program, I don't think it has been such a huge success. The default rate is extremely high. I mean, it's as high as 70%. And the last report we had was that over 450 billion are still outstanding with the anchor borrowers program. So I don't think the CBN has to manage that number of retail lending. That, of course, could have been done better, perhaps through the commercial banks and through all their networks across the country. So there are issues about the implementation, the high default rates around some of the intervention funds, which is why it is fair that perhaps the CBN should just support the banks and through the banks get these things done. Secondly, it also offers or presents a major distraction even to the CBN. Well, the core function of CBN is monetary stability, price stability, oversight of the banking system, financial system stability. These are the core functions of the CBN.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Company, NNPC Limited, says without subsidy, petrol will sell for 462 naira per litre. He said the average international market-determined landing cost in the second quarter of this year was $1,283 per metric ton, while marketing and distribution cost was 46 naira per litre. A combination of the cost elements translates to a retail pump price of 462 litres or naira per litre, an average subsidy of 297 naira per litre, and an annual estimate of 6.5 trillion naira on the assumption of 60 million litres of daily premium notice spirit PMS or petrol supply. In a statement by Group General Manager Malam Garba Dean Mohammed, the NNPC said the average supply corresponded with the imports. He spoke during an interactive session with the House of Representatives Committee on Finance on the 2023-2025 Medium-Term Expenditure Framework and Fiscal Strategy paper. He was reacting to last Thursday's comments by Controller General of Customs Hamid Ali, who said he found it hard to understand why the NNPC, which put Nigeria's daily fuel consumption at 60 million litres, releases 98 million litres into the market.